On the shores of the Red Sea, Eritrea is quietly transforming itself. Once dismissed as isolated and irrelevant, Eritrea is now rapidly fortifying its coastline. This military buildup is not just a local affair. It's sending shockwaves from Addis Ababa to Washington. The Horn of Africa, long a region of shifting alliances, is witnessing something new. A calculated, secretive expansion. Eritrea's silence is unnerving, and its intentions remain unclear. The Red Sea is a vital artery for global trade, and Eritrea's actions are forcing the world to pay attention. The country is positioning itself as a key player in a critical geopolitical arena. The question is no longer if Eritrea matters, but what it's planning and for whom. Imagine a chessboard where a silent player suddenly makes bold moves. That's Eritrea today. Its military expansion has caught neighbors and global powers off guard. The era of Eritrea's quiet isolation is over. The world is watching, anxious for what comes next. The Red Sea is more than a body of water. It's the lifeblood of global trade. Connecting the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean, it carries 12% of all global commerce. Any instability here can disrupt supply chains worldwide. Eritrea's 100-kilometer coastline and control of the Dahlak archipelago give it immense leverage. Its proximity to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a choke point just 29 kilometers wide, means Eritrea can influence one of the world's most important shipping lanes. Global powers have long competed for influence here, building bases and forging alliances. Eritrea's militarization adds a new, unpredictable element to this volatile mix. The fear Eritrea could disrupt maritime traffic or offer its ports to a foreign power, upsetting the regional balance. The Red Sea is too important to leave to chance. That's why Eritrea's silent construction is drawing intense global scrutiny. Eritrea's military buildup is now visible from space. Satellite images show new piers, deep water harbors, and support facilities near Massawa and Assab. These are not minor upgrades. They signal preparations for a modern navy. Eritrea's limited resources suggest foreign backing, with whispers of support from the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and possibly Russia. On the ground, locals report increased military presence and sightings of foreign engineers. The pace of construction is rapid, hinting at urgency and secrecy. Eritrea's focus is shifting from land to sea, a major change in its military doctrine. For decades, the army was central. Now, the navy is taking precedence. President Isaias Afwerki's ambitions are no longer just about survival. They're about projecting power. Eritrea is looking outward, aiming to become a maritime force. This marks a new confrontational chapter in its history. Why is Eritrea making this move now? President Isaias Afwerki, in power since 1993, has always prioritized regime survival, but the collapse of peace with Ethiopia and renewed disputes over sea access have changed the calculus. By fortifying the coast, Isaias sends a clear message. Eritrea's territory is non-negotiable. The build-up deters Ethiopian ambitions and signals strength. Isaias may also be seeking to attract foreign investment and security guarantees, following the example of Djibouti. Offering ports to a global power could break Eritrea's isolation and secure his regime. At nearly 80, Isaias is likely thinking about his legacy, transforming Eritrea into a strategic maritime power. This is a high-stakes gamble, typical of his rule. Eritrea's ambitions now reach far beyond its borders. Eritrea's neighbors are alarmed. Ethiopia sees the build-up as a direct threat to its hopes for sea access, raising the risk of conflict. Djibouti fears losing its status as the region's main port and military hub. Sudan and Somalia worry about being drawn into a wider regional struggle. Global powers are also on edge. The West fears a Russian naval base in Eritrea, which would challenge their influence. Diplomats are scrambling to sway Eritrea away from rival alliances. Meanwhile, Russia and Gulf states see opportunity, offering support in exchange for access. Quiet diplomacy is underway, but the stakes are rising. Eritrea's coast is now a new front in the global power struggle. The Horn of Africa faces a new era of uncertainty. Eritrea's military buildup has raised the stakes for everyone. The most immediate risk renewed conflict with Ethiopia, possibly drawing in foreign powers. Even without war, the region is entering an arms race with more militarization and greater risk of miscalculation. The Red Sea could become a flashpoint for global crisis. If Eritrea's gamble succeeds, it could emerge as a key maritime power, breaking its isolation on its own terms. This would shift regional dynamics and challenge international norms. The world can no longer ignore the Horn of Africa. Local disputes here have global consequences. The coming months will be critical: diplomacy or escalation. Eritrea's message is clear. It's no longer silent, and the storm has arrived.